Hey there, everybody. This is just a shorter practice just to help you feel a little bit more grounded in your body, maybe get rid of some of those regular aches and pains or tension patterns. And intention is to be able to use this practice easily so that you can sleep well if you want to use it before bed, or so that you can use it to go into your day with a fresh start, rejuvenated, reset, so that you can do your good work in the world. So if you can just get yourself into a comfortable position, the only thing that I have right now is a blanket. So I'm sitting on a blanket. Other than that, I don't have any yoga props. You shouldn't need anything else. If you have a mat and you want to sit on it, that's great. If you have a bolster or even a couple of pillows close by, those can't hurt, but you certainly don't need them. So we are going to do a lot of different stretching to feel good across the shoulders and the spine and the hips. And then we're going to finish up with legs up the wall. So when we get to the point where we do legs up the wall, that's where you might use that bolster. If you traditionally use the bolster for legs up the wall, I also am going to complete the recording at the end of guiding you into legs up the wall. And so you can make a choice about whether or not you want to extend that time with legs up the wall for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or if you're ready to be complete after the process of being led into the pose. So maybe just a couple of minutes with legs up the wall. So getting yourself comfortable to sit maybe on a blanket, maybe on a pillow. You might even be in a chair. So as we do this upper body work, you might be seated in a chair, perfectly fine. You might just kind of rock forward a little bit. See if you can sit up tall on your sits bones, untuck your buns a little bit. You can take a breath in here and then breathe out your mouth. And then you might feel those deeper abdominal muscles just kind of corseting you, drawing your belly back towards your spine. Good. And then you can just take your hands right out to your legs. You might just turn your palms up if that feels comfortable. Elbows tucked in by the side ribs, chest open. And if you can, taking a breath in, and then maybe closing the eyes as you breathe out. Since we just kind of close off the sensory realm, just that one of five senses, just what we see. Allowing us to magnify the feeling of touch. So you might notice the air on your skin, the way your clothing feels, the way the contact points feel between your body and the floor or the earth. And then just noticing the sounds around you, the soundscape. You might notice the sounds that are really close by. You might move out, cast out your attention to the street or to the outdoors, sounds you might hear there. How far can you go to hear the sounds? Good, and then just pulling back in, coming back in and hearing the sounds in the room. And you might hear the sounds of your own body. So maybe you hear your breath moving in and out. You might hear your stomach gurgling as the body relaxes. It's easier to digest. And you might even notice, just like you're noticing that sensory input, you might notice your thoughts moving through. So images, words. And as we notice, you are what's noticing. You are the subject of this experience. Who's noticing these sounds, these thoughts? Good. And your eyes might be closed, but you might see a little filter of shadow and light through the eyes. You might notice movement, just a little bit of movement. And again, you might notice your thoughts, the images in your thoughts, colors, shapes. And so both those thoughts that we imagine or that we see inside and the light and the shadow that cast from the outside, who's noticing? Good. And you might just run your tongue along the back of your teeth. You might take a breath in and press your tongue up against the roof of the mouth. And then when you breathe out, let your tongue huddle down into the base of the mouth. Good. Did you notice a taste in your mouth? So there might be a taste that you noticed in your mouth, or you might be brought to memories of taste or longing for taste, right? That sense of taste can bring us to the past, it can bring us to the future so easily. And whether you're noticing the actual taste in your mouth or you're imagining the past or the future of taste in your experience, it's noticing taste. Who's noticing? Good. And then finally, just noticing the smell around you. Curious. Sense of smell also linked with past and future. So if we remember a smell, we can remember a lot of things that go along with that sense of smell, right? We can remember how we felt. We can remember who was there. We can remember the taste. So noticing the smell that is here, the smell of your stories, your memories. Can you imagine putting a rose up to your nose? So maybe the smell of the future, smell that you might be longing for. And who's noticing that? Who is this noticer? Good. So then maybe bringing your hands to your body in some way, maybe a hand on the belly and a hand on the heart, or you can wrap your arms around yourself in an embrace. And then just noticing the way your breath rides through your body. A lot of times when we slow down just to notice, then our breath also kind of slows down, smooths out. We might notice a sigh or a yawn coming through just to find a little bit of extra oxygen if we've been breathing really shallow throughout our day. So just observe for a moment the movement of the breath, finding its way back home. And then just taking your hands together on your heart. Just for a moment, we're all going to pause in this space, this heart space. I want you to imagine, think of, dedicate your practice to one good thing that you're doing in the world right now. You can dedicate it to your mothering, you can dedicate it to your justice work, you can dedicate it to your relationships, to self or to others or to community. You can dedicate it to a specific task or something you're curious about and want to know more about. You can dedicate it to unpacking or dismantling systems of oppression within you. Good. So just choose that one thing. There might be many good things, but just choose one thing for now. As you set your hands upon your heart, dedicate your practice to that one good thing. All energy, all blessings, all knowing, moving right towards that intention. And then just pressing your hands in to seal that intention. Good. If your eyes are closed, you might want to dip your chin down to your chest. Gently blink your eyes open, and then just lift your head back up on top of your spine. And at any point during the practice, if you want to close your eyes again to bring yourself back into this moment some more, you are welcome to do that. So just taking your hands right up onto your shoulders, you can touch your elbows together in front of you, and then just start to make some nice big circles with your elbows. Good. So breath is nice and easy. You're just noticing the movement of the shoulders. Maybe noticing the front across the chest, noticing the back, maybe even in between the shoulder blades. Good. And then reverse your circles. There's no need to rush. We're not counting here. And if you reach out through the tips of your elbows, you might find you got a little bit more space in the shoulder joints. Space is usually good in the body. Extra space. And then letting your arms stretch down by your sides. You can take your hands back behind you. You can interlace your fingers back there. You can reach your hands away from your shoulders. Keep your head tall on top of your spine. Maybe the elbows stay a little bit bent, right? Because your shoulders are really tight, no worries. Press your shoulder blades in towards each other like you're going to squeeze a coin in between your shoulder blades. And then from there, press the arms towards straight, reaching the hands out. Good. Elbows are magnetic. They're drawn in towards each other. And you might just stay just like that. That might be the place as you press your shoulders down away from your ears. Or you might have a little space to lift your hands away from your low back. Again, there's no right or wrong with that. It's just listening into your body. Good. Take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, release and take your hands around to the front. Imagine you got a big ball in your arms, you're holding, and then you're just gonna round yourself back. So round your back, tuck back underneath the tailbone, let your chin drop down to your chest. Oh, that feels really good. So just noticing the landscape in the back body, the upper back, the space between your shoulder blades, the mid back, the low back. Good, and then just take a breath in and sit up good and tall. You can interlace your fingers. Just press your palms away from your heart. And if I start thinking about the past or the future, or my mind gets busy as I slow down the movement, it's okay to bring your awareness right back to your breath. Good, and then just stationing the rib cage over the top of the pelvis as you take a breath in, lift your arms. Good, and you'll know you've gone too far if your shoulders start to hunch up towards your ears, so you might just stay, pressing the shoulders down, taking another breath. Good, and then maybe lifting up a little bit higher. Like there's no end point, right? We're not necessarily going up overhead. We just want to keep as much space as we can between the shoulders and the ears. We want to keep that rib cage stationed over the top of the pelvis. Good. When you take an exhale, you can bend your elbows, hook your hands back behind your head, and then just bow your chin towards your chest again. Good. When we work with the neck, there's no reason to push or force anything. We're just going to let the weight of our hands carry our head forward. There's this sense of lengthening and tractioning out the neck. Good. Take a breath in, lift your head up on top of your spine, open your arms up wide, lift your chin and press your heart forward. And then as you exhale, round your back, touch your hands and your elbows together in front. Inhale, press the heart forward, lift the chin, open the chest wide. Exhale, round back. I'm just going to do that breath by breath as a way of exploring the length of your spine. So really feel as if you're creating that opposing shape, moving backwards and forwards through flexion and extension. Good. And to keep a healthy spine, we want to be able to make these movements with the spine. So here's our flexion and extension. First two movements. Beautiful. Taking an exhale to round yourself back. And then as you inhale, reach your arms up overhead as you straighten out the spine. As you exhale, let the right hand come down to the floor as you stretch over to the right. So now we're getting a lateral stretch for the spine, side stretch. Ooh, that feels good. Good. We can also from here get a twist. So taking a breath in, lifting that left arm up, letting it swing around and land behind your left hip, right hand all the way across the body to the outside of the left knee. If I lengthen out my spine, make it neutral and long, then I can move into that space with a twist. So the inhale to lengthen, create more space, and then the exhale to move into that space. Good. Everything is turned towards the left. I'll take a breath in. And then as I exhale, just turn my head to look across my right shoulder. Good. Think of refreshing and resetting the neck here. Yeah, take a breath in. You can take your head back in line with the rest of the spine. Exhale, unwind yourself through the center. If you're getting a little bit sided here, you might want to switch your legs. So other leg in front or on top, hands on either side of the hips. Taking a breath in, lifting the arms up. Good, we'll go for that stretch on the other side. So letting the left hand come down and find the floor as you stretch over to the left. Really linger, breathing deeply to stretch also from the inside. So that space between your ribs. A little bit more space for digestion and breath. Beautiful. Take a breath and reach that right arm up. Let it swing around behind your right hip. Left hand goes all the way across the body to the outside of the right knee. Remember, the length is what creates the space for the twist. So make sure to lift those low ribs up and off of the bowl of the pelvis. Reach up through the crown of your head to traction the spine. Good, taking a breath in here. Everything is twisting around towards the right. As you exhale though, turn to look across your left shoulder. Good, take a breath in here. Exhale, unwind the head back in line with the rest of the spine. Come back to sit right back through the middle. Give yourself a moment just to pause and breathe. Good, noticing the body as it sifts itself right back to center, right back to symmetry. Good, and then when you're ready, you can tuck your left foot in towards your hips. Stretch your right leg out towards the right side. Just like in the beginning, you might want to put your hands down so you can lift your hips up and untuck your tailbone so your spine is nice and long. You can turn yourself towards your right foot and then flex your right toes right up towards your belly. Get your hands nice and big and wide, and then let them go right at the top of your right thigh. So the inhale is this, nice and long with the spine. And then the exhale, I'm gonna slide my hands down my leg as I bow forward. As I inhale, I'll come back with the hands as I sit back up. Exhale, come forward. So just like that, breath by breath, you might find that is a nice stretch for the back of your right leg. You might also find this is a good way to just get things flowing in the leg. Maybe release some edema from the heat of the summertime. Or if you've been running or doing something like biking, something with your legs, there's a lot of lactic acid buildup in the legs. Just getting things moving. Good. Taking a breath in again, coming up to sit. Now I'm just gonna reach that right hand across to the outside of the left knee again. I'm gonna flip that left palm towards the ceiling, and then I'm gonna take a breath in and lift up and over. Left fingers reach for the right toes. Still a good flex in that right foot. Good. Take a breath in. You can lift that left arm up. And then as you exhale, you can let your hands come to rest on your thighs. Pull that right knee in. Have a seat. Just take a breath. Again, both sides, balancing out front and back. Noticing your breath. Let that be a reminder that you can always stop and take a breath to reacclimate. Good. And then letting the left leg stretch out to the sides, bringing that right foot in towards your hips. And lift yourself up to untuck the tailbone, flex the left foot, and then spin yourself towards your left foot. Hands big and wide, right at the top of the left thigh, taking a breath. Exhale, hinge forward, hands slide down the leg. Inhale, come up. Just like that, breath by breath. One more time like that. And then as you inhale and sit yourself up, you can reach that left hand across to the outside of the right thigh. Reach your right arm out to the side and flip the palm towards the ceiling. Inhale and arc that right hand up and over as you reach your right fingers for your left toes. Good. Keep breathing. Softening the tongue down from the roof of the mouth. Stay clear, stay open. Take a breath in, lift that right arm up and down. You can situate your hands on your thighs again. Stretch that right leg out again. So we're going to go into kind of a little bit of a split here. If you have really tight adductors, inner thighs, and you pull your legs way back and then that causes you to slump, right, around your low back, it's okay to ease off of that a little bit. Maybe bring the heels in a little bit closer. So that, again, you can lift up and untuck the tailbone. Keep a nice long, elongated spine. Feet are flexed back towards the belly. And then just clasping the hands. So maybe the right hand in front this first time. Hands are straight in front of the heart. And then just imagine that there's a string in between your hands and your heart. And as you take a breath in, you pull yourself forward. We're now gonna circle around. So as you exhale, come around to the right, back to the back, round, chin to chest, up the left side, drawing the heart forward again. So we're circling around. You might tune into the sits bones as you rock. Reaching over to one side, you come to that sit bone, come back. You might imagine the diamond shape at the pelvic floor. It says 2 sits bones on either side. The pubic bone at the front, pubis, and the tailbone at the back. Just kind of rocking around the bases there. Getting a little bit braver with each circle, maybe going just a little bit wider. Good, go out past the comfort zone here. Making those circles as wide as you can. Good, maybe just one more time around like that. Next time as you take a breath in, coming back around to sit up tall. You're gonna switch your hands, so left hand in front this time, right hand crossed over. Take a breath in and pull your heart forward, same thing. This time though, as we exhale, we're gonna go around to the left and then back to the back and then up the left side and then smooth out those circles. The image I like is also of stirring, right? Stirring up the pot, stirring up some food, stirring up your complacency, like getting uncomfortable, right? Getting ready to expand, to grow, to be wrong, to partner, to be open. Good. To do what you need to do. Moving a little bit wider, a little bit more courageous with each circle. Good. Maybe when we practice being courageous, just in a simple act like going wider with these circles, it makes us a little bit more courageous in our lives. Maybe this is a practice of something bigger than just stretching our hamstrings. Maybe. Good, maybe go one more time, big and wide around the circle. Come right back up to sit. You can let your hands come back down. Take your hands under your knees. Bend your knees and take your legs back into a cross-legged position. And give yourself a moment just to sit, to pause here. Again, to reacclimate. And then when you're ready, we're gonna make our way down to the ground. So I just want you to be kind of close to the wall. Be close enough that you can easily scoot yourself over to legs up the wall. You don't need any props or anything here, but if you do want to use a bolster or a blanket for the legs up the wall portion, you could have that close by the position that you'll be taking. And then when you're ready, a gentle way to come down to the floor would be to just turn your knees over, slide your hand down, come onto your back. Another way to come down is to snuggle the knees in towards the belly and then roll yourself down onto your back. Starting out, just extend it all the way out. Reach your arms and your legs. Woo, nice big long full body stretch. Taking a breath here. And then as you exhale, pull your right knee in towards your belly. And as you inhale, stretch your arms and your legs out. As you exhale, pull that left knee in towards your belly. And as you inhale, stretch all the way out. So just like that, breath by breath. Good. Just be mindful of each movement, each breath. Stay right here. Beautiful. Next time you take that right knee up and in, you can keep that right knee there, keeping that left leg stretched out, reaching out through your left heel, and then maybe just rocking that right knee from side to side. And start to explore that right hip socket a little bit. Good. You can even circle that right knee around in the hip socket. And then reverse. Good, and then just bending that left knee, putting the left foot on the floor. You can take your right foot onto your left thigh, and then just go ahead and pick that left foot up. You might keep your arms stretched along your sides. You might hook your hands behind your left hamstrings, keeping both of your feet flexed. That might be a good stretch. You might just keep going and take your hands in front of the left shin. So those are all different possibilities. As you start to get acquainted again with that right hip, noticing the outside of the right hip, down the outside of the right thigh. The more you press that right knee towards what would be the end of your mat, if you had a mat, the more you get into that right hip. Again, patience, courage. Do not take one breath for granted. Be present for every moment of it. Take your left foot back down to the floor. You can stretch your right leg out. Left knee pulls in towards your belly. And then maybe moving that left knee from side to side, exploring the hip socket a little bit. Good, and then circling out that left knee. Reverse. Good, and then just sliding that right foot back up again, right knee is bent. I'm gonna put my left foot on my right thigh, and then let my arms go right by my side. So I might just lift up my right foot, that might be plenty. Pressing the right knee in towards the belly. Maybe I'm gonna reach through and wrap my hands behind my right thigh. Maybe I'm gonna keep reaching through and wrap my hands around my right shin. Anytime there are arms involved too, you could use a strap or a towel or a scarf as an extension for your arms if you want that same feeling, but without, you don't have enough length in your arms to get there. Good, and then I'm gonna keep both of my feet flexed. The more I press that left knee open, the deeper the stretch in the outside of my left thigh, the outside of my left hip. Good, and then just releasing the right foot back down to the floor. Let your left foot go next to it. Let your hands just come out to the sides, and then let your knees go from side to side. Just really soft. Again, moving the body as a way to just open it up, widen a little bit, decrease tension. Good, and then letting the knees just drop towards the screen here. And then maybe even reaching that opposite arm out in the opposite direction. You might even turn your head to look out towards that hand. Good. You can take a breath in to take your gaze and your knees back up to center. Let them go through all the way to the other side. Good, knees go in one direction, another arm reaches out in the opposite direction. You might even turn your head to look out towards the hand. Good, take a breath in. You can take your knees and your gaze back up through center. Just pause here for a moment. You might want to check in with your body and see if your body needs anything else from this position, the reclined position. The next place we're going to go is like the wall. So go ahead and grab the props that you would need for that once you feel complete with your floor practice. Not everybody's going to get to look at Eddie when they're up against the wall. All right, so then once you're ready to take your legs off the wall, you can have that bolster close by if you've got one. Take your ponytail out if you have a ponytail on the back of your head. You could also use a blanket close by. You could use a pillow for underneath your head just so that your head is not lifted up so much that your chin is tucked. You want to really encourage a neutral spine as much as possible. If you have a bolster, I want you to just put it over to the side at first. Then snug yourself right up against the wall. So one of the hips up against the wall. You can reach that opposite hand out towards or away from the wall, and then you can just start to slide your legs up the wall. All right, so you might just take your legs up the wall. This could be perfectly fine. You just get your buns right up against the wall if you can, if the backs of the legs are open for that. If the backs of your legs are too tight and you want a little bit more space, no worries. All right, so this is if you want your hips to be right on the ground. That's where you would be if you don't want your hips on the ground, but you want a little bit more rise in the hips. You might bend your knees, put your feet against the wall, and then lift your hips up and away. You can slide the bolster or the blanket or whatever you've got underneath your hips for a little bit more height. This just gives you a chance to the possibility of a little bit more drainage, a little bit more of an inversion. So the benefits of that. All right, so once you've got your legs set, knees could be a little bit bent. Again, you can have some space between your bottom and the wall if you'd like. Once you've got your legs set, then maybe lifting your upper back, shrug your shoulder blades under, softening the shoulder blades against the floor. Maybe you rest your hands on your belly. That can be really comforting for some people. You can feel the waves of breath moving through. Maybe you want to stretch your arms out, especially a time like summertime when we're feeling a little bit more expansive. We might want to take our arms straight out to the sides with the palms open. Or maybe even more audacious, bending the elbows at 90 degrees. Good. You can press the crown of your head that direction away from the wall so that you can lengthen out your spine. And if you had your eyes open just for a moment, you might notice that you're looking right up towards the ceiling or the sky, right? So you're not looking back, you're not looking in towards your belly, you're looking straight up. So if you have a rise of some sort underneath your head, just make sure that your gaze is straight up, leaving your neck nice and neutral. Good, and then if you can, maybe closing the eyes, you might leave your eyes open as you gaze softly at the ceiling or the sky or whatever you can see. And as you settle in, taking a nice full breath in, and then a slow breath out, lingering breath out. Good, nice full breath in. And then open up your mouth like you're gonna fog a window, exhale out the mouth. Good, take a breath in. Big breath in. Imagine you're gonna blow up birthday candles this time. Good. Take another big breath in one more time. Now just a little breath out like you're gonna blow a feather off of your palm. Just through pursed lips. Follow all the way down to the end of that exhale, letting that breath out ever so slowly. Good, and then just letting the breath move in and out with ease. Noticing the length of the legs and then the soles of your feet. And you might almost imagine that the soles of the feet could open and that you could receive down through the soles of the feet like a waterfall, right, of cleansing. So it's just coming down and through the soles of your feet, washing down through the legs, washing out any toxins, any buildup, any discomfort, any tension, and then pooling down in the pool of your belly. Right, we're getting Hawaii here. So just imagine yourself in this beautiful place, beautiful waterfall pooling down in the belly. Feel another rise, especially if you've got the hips lifted up away from the floor. Feel another rise as you feel a drop from the belly down to the pool of the throat. And then imagine a pool right there at the front of the throat. Good. Just cleaning out, clearing out anything that's built up in the body, just bathing the throat center so you can have a strong, clear voice. Maybe even moving out to the ears, the equally as important part of communication that's really not focused on very often, which is hearing. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so we can listen. So feeling the ears maybe start to soften a little bit. Good. Let go of the head, let it get heavy, right down into the ground. Let go of any expression on the face, letting the mouth soften, the corners of the mouth. Good. Soften out, loosen out the corners of your eyes. Let the eyes sink back into the sockets. And just loosening your brow. You might feel it unknit right at the center as your brow smooths, as the forehead softens. Yeah. You can let your mouth go a little bit slack. You might still feel the breath moving in and out of the nose. Maybe the lips are touching gently, but maybe the teeth are apart and the tongue is softened down into the base of the mouth. Head is nice and heavy because you're not carrying the weight of the head anymore. The neck is able to relax. So you feel the muscles that support the neck, sides of the neck, front of the neck. And breath is nice and easy, so throat is open. Lots of space there in the throat and the mouth. Good. Feel the collarbones soften, the shoulders relax down and back. Feel the shoulders completely supported by the floor so that the chest can soften and open. You can invite a sense of ease and restoration just to move down the length of your arms. Feel it flowing down the length of your arms. Clearing out, cleaning out, restoring the energy of the arms and the hands for their good work in the world. And feel that restoration, strength building, clarity in every single finger. Sense of purpose in the arms and the hands. There. Good. And as you feel the torso clearing out, fresh oxygen, a little bit more satisfying breath each time. Letting the belly go free and soft, receiving the breath. Good, there's no holding here. There's just an opening. As you release the weight of the spine, the rib cage, the pelvis, letting all those muscles that support just go soft. Good. You can feel this energy in the bowl of the pelvis. Sense of rejuvenation as you cleanse the length of the legs, so feeling into your legs from the hips up through the soles of the feet again. Good, and anything that you don't need, whether it's toxins in the body, old systems of thought, anger, judgment, stubbornness, fear, sadness. It's not teaching you and it's not helping those around you, send it out. Right out through the tips of your fingers, right down into the earth. Good. And just noticing your mind. You might notice thoughts moving through the mind. Maybe you're even kind of moving in and out of hearing me at all. As the edges start to soften a little bit. Good. Finally, just noticing the heart. This reinstilled courage, refortified tenacity. To end suffering, to work for justice. To build energy and clarity and stamina for this revolution that is now. So feel yourself as an electronic device plugged in right now, charging, charging, charging. So you're invited to stay in this position for as long as this is feeling like it's serving your energy, your stamina, your courage in the world. And there's no need to rush. When you're ready, just make your way out carefully, taking time to transition over to your side, laying in that position for a bit before you come back up. And if you'd like to stay longer, you're welcome. If you'd like to finish your practice now. Namaste.